Thank you to all my channel members, including my fan appreciation level members and my contributor level members, for helping support the YouTube channel.
Hello, and welcome to my channel. My name is Jonathan Cohn, and today I have my book review of the book God's Country by J.T. Ringo. This is a Western, a self-pub Western, and the author, J.T. Ringo, reached out to me and asked if I would be interested in receiving a review copy. This was several months ago, and so I said yes, I would. I didn't know when I'd get it on my schedule, and so it's been several months, and I was figuring, I need to get it on the schedule eventually, so I put it on the February TBR, and I made it to it in February, and I'm very happy I did. This is, as I mentioned, a Western. It's about the basic premise of the book is there is this Polish family that emigrates to the United States and is trying to settle out west. I think it's like the 1870s, and so they end up emigrating to Colorado. But the process of immigration is very difficult, and some people from this family's past ends up also being in Colorado and causes a lot of problems. And it's got all the classic Western tropes. You've got the saloon, you got shootouts, you got the horses, and you've got the kind of the desert-ish landscape and stuff. It's you got the kind of the abandoned town, stuff like that. It's very much a classic Western style, and I really liked that concept behind it. The book has two very surprising themes that actually I feel work very well for it. One of the themes is a hope about America. The book has such a positive outlook towards what the potential of being an American is. The hope, the potential of, starting over, the potential of owning your own land, of not constantly living in fear of enemies, things like that. And so I was, especially in the opening of the book, I was very impressed that J.T. Ringo was able to harness that optimism. I also was impressed by a seemingly conflicting theme, but it actually works really well, which is the grim, gritty reality of what sometimes life on a frontier can be. It's not always raindrops on roses and whiskers on kittens. Sometimes it can be rough living on a frontier. People die, and let me tell you, oh boy, is there a huge body count. A lot of people die in this book. And J.T. Ringo is not afraid to does not shy away from showing you the grim reality of it. And I thought that was so interesting that he perfectly balanced the themes of grim reality with hopeful optimism. And I just thought that was just incredibly well done. The book has, for me, the book hit its strongest point in the middle of the book, where when the family makes it to Colorado, and then when stuff starts happening there, and the plot really takes off with the person from their past. Basically, the father character was in the Polish military and fought against the Russians, and there's this Serbian-Russian character from his past who kind of ends up being there as well. That whole stuff was fantastically written. It was dark. It was really well done. I thought it was just tremendously handled. And then there's kind of a revenge plot that kind of happens where our main character, who is a 7-year-old boy, has to try to take matters into his own hands. And it very much reminded me of kind of like how True Grit works. If you've watched either version of True Grit, you know that what that plot's about. And there was a very similar plot towards the second half of this book that I thought was really well done. I am going to be honest in my review. The first portion of the book is really rough because the writing style I just didn't feel was quite polished enough. At the very beginning of the book, the dialogue is super, super stilted. It's very just flat and amateurish at times. And the second problem I had with the writing style at the beginning of the book was that there were frequent times, especially in the first couple chapters, where when character dialogue would happen, it would be written in Polish, and then you'd have it in English immediately afterward. And you can do this once or twice, and it can be a cool gimmick, and it can be something that's kind of reminds you, hey, they're actually speaking another language, even though you, the reader, is reading English. But it happened for so much, and it got so annoying, and I was like, whenever I got to the Polish part, it just took me out of the book, and it just made me go, I don't care about that. I want to skip this. And maybe JT Ringo was just really wanting for the immersion of, hey, this is what it's actually like. This is what Polish is like. Maybe he was going for, he wanted to take you out, but it just, to me, it did not work at all. The ending of the book was very mixed. The ending of the book, some of the plot I think worked really well. Some of the character stuff worked really well. And I really liked the themes and the hope that's at the end of the book, especially in the last chapter. But the climax, the lead up to it, I thought was just kind of mediocre. I didn't think it was that good. The middle portion of the book, from about page 100 to about page 350, was solid, was really good. And that's what really made the book work for me. Which is ironic, because usually the answer is you want your opening and your ending to work, and it's okay if it drags in the middle because it's what hooks your reader and what makes your reader think afterwards. But ironically, this book did the reverse, where the middle was the strongest for me. I think that the action in this book is great, and also this book takes a big risk where the main character is like a 7-year-old boy. That, I think, would not work in a lot of writers' hands. But surprisingly, I think it worked really well for JT Ringo. I feel that he made the boy, Andres, very relatable. I feel like he made him empathetic. I thought he made him a really fleshed out character. And even though he still felt like a 7-year-old boy, it didn't feel like I was reading a kid's book, because obviously it's not. This is a very adult, dark, grim book. But I thought that, he just did a tremendous job making the little kid the main character. And of course, not the whole book's not written from the kid's perspective. In fact, some of it's written from the villain's perspective, and some of it's written from the dad's perspective, and a little bit from the mom's perspective. And so, and from the uncle's perspective. I really liked the uncle, by the way. Uncle Vaclav, who's in this book, I can't spoil it, but his story was delightful. I really liked him. But yeah, I was very impressed that the kid worked. That doesn't always work in books. So that is my review of God's Country. I would give it a 7 out of 10. I think, it has some major problems, but it was an enjoyable experience as a Western, as a self-pub. I had an enjoyable experience with it. So if you've read the book, let me know your thoughts. If you've read other Westerns that you recommend, let me know those thoughts as well. And until next time, I'm Jonathan, and thank you for watching.